Welcome in to a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live here on this Monday morning. We appreciate you starting your game week here with us.
Football.
It is football season as week 0 is in the books, and it is week 1. We can react to some football that we saw over the weekend, and we can get you prepared for LSU Florida State, which will kick off on Sunday afternoon from the Caesars Superdome. Will be on national TV, on primetime television, on ABC. It'll be a matchup that we'll be talking about all week leading up to kickoff here. Good Monday morning to you. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, that comment button if you don't mind here as we're with you until 9 a.m. this morning. We'll talk to Ross Dellinger from Sports Illustrated. We'll also talk to Jake Crain from Crain & Company. Jake will be here every Monday during the college football season as we will be as we said, just kind of reacting to what happened the weekend before and previewing what's coming up for the week ahead. So lots to get to. Auburn names their starting quarterback. It is a Louisiana native and former LSU signal caller, TJ Finley, which is wild.
I was going to ask how y'all feel about it, but Lloyd's just over there shaking his head, so I know.
I just find that very bizarre. I mean,
do?
we've seen what TJ Finley can do, right? Like, if this were LSU and TJ Finley were named the starter, how would you feel? Not confident.
Not
right?
confident, yeah, for sure. But, you know, I mean, as Harsin described, he's been there really the longest and understands the offense. So we will we'll react to that a little bit before we get out of here at 9 a.m. this morning. Still nothing from the practice fields of LSU as Brian Kelly will meet with the press today at a little bit after noon. We will be in the room, and I imagine that at some point he will either name the starter or he will be asked to name the starter by the press. So it will be interesting to see how Brian Kelly and LSU kind of handle naming their quarterback going into Sunday's matchup versus LSU. Over the weekend, we got our first look at Florida State as Florida State was able to bludgeon Duquesne over the weekend.
Not so fast, my friend.
47-7.
Little cover. About
would
the
you tease it?
Yeah, no. I think the spread was like 50.5, and I laughed at it. Yeah, got to hit a parlay on the old Caesar Sportsbook.
There you go.
For the first time in Florida State school history, they had 3 running backs go over 100 yards. If they show up with that offensive line to the Superdome, good luck on Sunday. Because for as impressive as that number is of 300 individual yard rushers on the ground, and that's very impressive, man. I mean, that's pretty impressive from any college football stat line that you look at, no matter who you're playing, what you're doing. But if you watch that game, and I watched a lot of the first half, you saw that offensive line, that's going to be a tough matchup for them versus LSU's front four. And that'll be the story for LSU throughout the year, right? I think that LSU is going to have the advantage on the defensive line as far as matchups go, probably every game. But this one in particular, if you were watching Florida State's offensive line trying to create push and show little to no athleticism. I mean, I saw a bunch of just kind of pudgy, overweight, unathletic, club feet offensive linemen that can't move.
My God.
I mean, they had 3 of the lowest rated players of the weekend, according to Pro Football Focus. All came off of Florida State's offensive line. I mean, I'm not just making this stuff up. I mean, if you kind of go and evaluate and look at their performance, I mean, it was very underwhelming. And that's kind of being polite, you know. And if LSU is the next game on the roster, see, this is kind of where I almost think that LSU maybe has an advantage of not playing last weekend and getting a chance to see Florida State play, because Florida State knows that the competition's about to kick up. Like, they know that it's not going to be Duquesne getting off the bus on
Who said that?
on
Jack 2.0 is like, oh, they're playing Duquesne? Like, Duquesne? He's like, I mean, that's a tough one. If you've never seen it before,
right.
just sound it out.
It
Absolutely.
Looked on phonics.
Absolutely. Giacomo. But, I mean, I know that Florida State understands that it's not Duquesne getting off the bus on Sunday night, but I don't think they have any idea what they got coming their way. I mean, I just – that was very simple. Like, if you're not even a football guy, if you're not even, like, you know, kind of like knowing what you're looking at, and you've been out and seen LSU's defensive line practice, you know, a couple of times, and you watched that offensive line on Saturday night, I mean, my first reaction was, ha! I mean, like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. I mean, you got Ali Gay standing over you. You got B.J. Ojulari breathing down your neck. You got Jaquelin Roy and Mason Smith coming at you in the first game of the year, 100% healthy, revved up in the dome, on the carpet, because it's going to be a long night for Florida State's offensive line. I mean, I'm not ready to say that LSU's going to blow them out. I'm just saying when it comes to that part of the game, they're in trouble. They're in big trouble. Because not only is LSU coming at you with those first four, that all of them are going to be, could be, potential high draft picks, first, second, third rounders, minimum third round. But, I mean, the waves of depth that are coming in after those guys. So, I mean, when, you know, some of these cats that couldn't and were having trouble pushing Duquesne around on Saturday night, you know, lines up over a guy like Desmond Little, who you got no idea about. You got no idea who Desmond Little is if you're Florida State. They're so worried about Ali Gay. They're so worried about B.J. Ojulari. They're so worried and stressing out about what they're going to do with Mason Smith and Jaquelin. You got no idea who Mekhi Wingo is. You got no idea who Savion Smith is. You got no idea who some of these cats that are be coming in at you in late in the second quarter, early in the third quarter, when you're thinking, damn, where's Gay at? Where's Ojulari at? I mean, I was hoping to take a play off. I mean, I'm just telling you, maybe they can make vast improvement because, you know, one of the big coach speak lingos in football is that your team improves most through weeks 1 and 2. Maybe Florida State's offensive line can improve between weeks 1 and 2 for their program. But unless they're able to go out and recruit new players, I don't see it. I don't see how they're going to be able to match up with LSU. If you just watch, and look, man, the numbers from Florida State are impressive the other night. But, I mean, my God, they were playing Parkview. You know, and look, they can only go out there and take care of their business. And they did it. Credit to them. But if you're just evaluating what their line of scrimmage looked like offensively, when it comes to LSU's matchup against their defensive line, that is a total mismatch. That's a total mismatch. And Florida State is just in that spectrum of the game, they're in big trouble.
Well, that was their first season opener win since 2016, right? Florida State.
Yeah, but I mean, that's why you schedule Duquesne to get that.
Yeah, but that's a long
time. Because a lot of these games, a lot of these high-profile games are like they are for LSU this season. They're usually like your opening kickoff. Like they're these big kickoff games. And Florida State's been in some of these matchups, and their program just doesn't seem quite ready to make that full return to where they were in the 90s. I don't know if they'll ever get back to where they were in the 90s under Bobby Bowden, where just year in, year out, they were a top 3 program. But, I mean, it does make sense for Florida State to be relevant and competitive within the sport. And right now, just in where they are under Mike Norvell. And, by the way, Mike Norvell is going to be on our show Wednesday.
That's crazy.
He's actually going to be here Wednesday at 3 o'clock. So we will have some special programming behind you. Did I say Savion Smith? I meant Savion Jones. I'm sorry.
Savion Smith ain't walking through that door.
But it's just look, and that was I watched 2.5 quarters, 3 quarters of that game intently, right? And that's what I just kind of took away from it, is that when it comes down to LSU, Florida State's offensive line versus LSU in the trenches, LSU is going to be able to push them around, it looks like, just from a matchup standpoint.
Would you say that we said the same thing last year
Yes.
against UCLA?
That's what I was
this
just
is
thinking.
exactly where
Exactly
we
the
were
same thing.
a year ago.
Yeah, but UCLA's and Florida State's talent is completely different after looking back in a rearview mirror. Like after looking back. And I don't know if LSU is where they were right now.
But you just
Right?
go talent for talent. It's the same defensive line you're bringing back.
Yeah, but I mean, I put a lot of stock into. I mean, I'm looking at this John Emery situation, and it's tough not to realize how much in disarray the program was last season.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, it was a dumpster fire. It was on its head. I mean, the fact that John Emery is going through what he's going through is inexplicable. And if you saw Kevin Baptiste from WAFB, who had an exclusive with Emery, you can see his attitude. He's kicked, man. He's punched in the gut. He is absolutely down and out right now. When the NCAA had a great opportunity, you saw him here a couple of months ago. I mean,
Locked
he was
in.
checked in,
Yeah.
engaged. He was working out. He was getting his grades. As he said, he's got a 3.8 GPA. What else you want the kid to do? Right? So, I mean, but it's even more evident of dating back to where this program was, right? And it's not always going to be the talent that wins out and that's dominant, you know? But, I mean, look, Mason Smith was unblockable against UCLA last year just because he was better than the guy in front of him. But, I mean, how much did we talk about UCLA's tight end going into that game? Lloyd, how much did we talk about the UCLA's
I
tight
was in
end?
school just now. I was looking at my phone. What? What's the question? How much should we talk about UCLA's what?
Tight
Tight
end.
end.
Tight end, and nobody covered him. Like that was. Look, you talk about watching
You know what I
being
mean?
checked in for 2 quarters. We literally pulled up UCLA highlights from 2021, and it was like the first 3 plays. Like, well, they threw to the tight end a lot. What was the first play that beat LSU for UCLA scoring drive? An 80-yard pass to the tight end. We're like, well, I guess they didn't even pull up fucking YouTube.
Those
like,
guys-
where are we, guys?
Those guys, I mean, they have forgotten more football than we'll ever know in that coaching office, even the crew last year, and they couldn't figure that out. We were saying it on this podcast of a bunch of, you know what I mean, some fan with a microphone.
Yeah,
You
French
know?
fan.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, they are going to be so much more prepared and better, just
It's hard to believe
ready
how.
Yes, ready
for
and prepared.
Sunday
Much
night
better
than
last year.
they have ever been for an opener in what we've seen. Les Miles, Ed Ogeron. I mean, go back to TCU, go back to Wisconsin. Go back to,
And that's when he had a competent defensive coordinator,
Yeah.
and he wouldn't let him coach.
well, I mean, if you saw that story that came out of Dave Aranda last week from Yahoo, where it said, like, you know, Dave Aranda was saying, like,
I'm a shell of
he didn't
myself.
speak to anybody at LSU. It became so chaotic. I don't know what the point of that story was. Like, it didn't seem like there was any point to it. But I think Dave Aranda almost wanted to just kind of get out and let people know that, look, I'm not who you thought I was back at LSU. I was robotic. I lived in my office.
That
I
was
didn't
the
pick
point.
I didn't pick my head up. I didn't talk to anybody. People knew within the organization that I wasn't going to talk to them. I mean, if you think back, Aranda, I remember Aranda when he left the meeting with Joe Oliva, where he had, you know, they were watching film together on the Monday after the Troy game, where you got Matt Canada, Dave Aranda, and the head coach sitting there watching film with the AD. I mean, Aranda's sitting there thinking, how in the hell
I've got shit to do.
did I end up in this room? Like, what am I doing here? And, like, from that point on, he was like, leave me alone.
And-
All of you. Like, y'all go deal with this soap opera and do whatever the hell y'all are trying to get figured out. But do not talk to me. Do not include me in any of this dramatic bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, just leave me alone so I can coach football. I want to be a head coach. I got to get this defense right. And he, you know, I mean, deep down inside, he was probably thinking, I deserve this gig, not the defensive line coach, right? Like, I'm the one that's able to kind of keep him motivated and keep him on task, not vice versa. And this is what happens if you guys are just knocking on my office door and asking me to come watch film with the AD. Leave me alone.
I've already seen the film. Y'all haven't.
So, you know,
look at where that staff is. Look at where Matt Canada is, offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Look at where Dave Aranda is, returning Ed Baylor after a 10-win season, his first year as head coach, and then look at where the LSU head coach is now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I mean, like,
imagine being in that room and you're like, buddy.
Yeah,
right.
I got
a
go.
finite amount of time because I know how to work and
I
see,
gotta
whatever
go.
y'all are dealing with, y'all figure it out.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
I've already watched this film. Like, I'm on to. You had the wrong running back in the first play of the game, and he fumbled against Troy.
And then went and admitted it.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Got into the post-game press conference and didn't know how it happened. Well, I mean, if you don't know how it happened, then we're really screwed. You know what I mean? Because you're the guy making all the money and all the decisions. So, you know, I mean, look, again.
It's over?
It's over. It's done with. Comparing anything that LSU is going to look like, feel like, or be prepared to do in this season, looking back to past years, is very unfair. Because it's a different approach. It's a different guy, and this team is going to be prepared to play. And I think that this Sunday, when you look at just the body of work, and we've seen limited time in practice, but that defensive line for LSU is without question the most impressive unit that jumps off at the practice field. And when I say jump off, it means like, they got pros. They got guys there right now that look like NFL players. Florida State on their offensive line, if you watch that game on Saturday, does not. And just on paper, 6 days out from the matchup, that looks like a huge advantage for LSU and makes me feel very secure going into that matchup from LSU's side that they are going to be able to control that game. And like we've said going into the you know, all of this, you know, game week, is that's why I believe LSU is going to be in every game. They will have a shot in every game if their defensive line can stay healthy. And they can stay deep, and they can stay fresh, and they can stay dominant. Because that's what I believe that group is going to be. I think that is going to be the difference for LSU this season. It'll give them an opportunity to figure all this stuff out that's going on around them, too. Quarterback, some things on the offensive line, running back, defensive back, safety. I mean, they still have questions going into this week that I think, you know, Brian Kelly's going to get up and announce. He possibly could announce his starting quarterback today. By no means do I believe that competition is over. You know, like last week when we were talking about if there was a question on the test that said, who's the starting quarterback going to be for LSU this season? And there was an answer that said, game one, Jaden Daniels, but both guys would play and it would stay open for the next 3 weeks. That would be my choice. It wouldn't be Daniels, Nussmeier, or other. It would be, I believe that Jaden Daniels is going to start on Sunday versus Florida State. I also believe that Garrett Nussmeier is going to play versus Florida State on Sunday. I think that those guys are still going to be splitting reps versus Southern and New Mexico. And by the time you get to Mississippi State, I think that he'll have enough data, enough to look at and say, this is where I want to go. By no means do I think that today's announcement, this week's starter, is going to be LSU's starter or what it looks like in week 5, 6, 7, and 8 through the season. I just don't. And I think the same thing on offensive line. I think the same thing when you look at that offensive line. I think the first 5 that are going to run out there are going to be left to right. Will Campbell at the tackle spot, Traymon Shorts at the guard, Garrett Dellenger at center, Miles Frazier at the right guard, and then Anthony Bradford at the tackle spot. You could look up on Series 3 and have Miles Frazier kick down to the other side of the guard, Anthony Bradford playing right guard, and Cam Wire out there playing right tackle. It would make sense. I also think on the opening drive of the game that you'll probably see Colby Richardson and Mekhi Gardner as your starting cornerbacks. By Series 3, it could be Jarick Bernard-Converse and Sevin Banks out there. Major Burns is going to start the game at safety. On the second series of the game, Joe Fuchsia might be out there. Greg Brooks is going to be the nickel. In Series 4, Sage Ryan could be out there. I think that there's a lot of competition and a lot of guys that are still going to have competition going on. And there's some positions that I think you can play and rotate guys all throughout the year. I mean, it makes me very secure to think that LSU's got 8 defensive backs that they feel like they can play. 4 corners and 4 safeties. If you'd have told me that coming out of the Texas Bowl in January, I wouldn't have believed you. Just like I wouldn't have believed that, 8 guys potentially could be rotating on the offensive line. Which I believe that to be true. I mean, for that offensive line adjustment that I gave you, that says, they're going to start the game, Campbell, Shorts, Dellenger, Frazier, Bradford. And they could come out with Frazier on the left side, Anthony Bradford kick down to right guard, and have Cam Wire as your right tackle. I still believe at some point Emory Jones is going to be a starter. And who's out? I don't know. They love Miles Frazier. Obviously, every lineup has him in it. They also love Bradford. Every lineup has him in it. Who's out? You're not taking Campbell out. Dellenger's playing. Where does Emory Jones fit in? I don't know. I just know that they believe he's so good that they can't keep him off the field. It's a great problem. They've got depth at positions that, 6 months ago, you wouldn't even have been able to think that they could field a group, a unit. I mean, the offensive line unit 6 months ago was scary to think about. Now, it could play itself into a strength of the team. I mean, it's just, LSU's in a really good spot.
And that's what I would ask. Is LSU in a good spot, or is it a spot of indecision where it's like we really don't know what we have yet, which is why you would want to have not your first game against a team. Like, obviously, Florida State's a name. We saw what they did against Duquesne, where it doesn't really make you – I don't think that struck any fear in anybody's hearts if you're an LSU fan when you saw Florida State line up against Duquesne. Like, that wasn't as dominant as maybe it could have been because you saw some flaws where, like, Duquesne doesn't have a real football team. That wasn't impressive.
See that picture of the guy on the sideline, number 50?
What is he wearing?
Yo, what was that?
What is
I thought
that?
that was a joke, though, right? Like,
it might have been like the
purpose.
goofy guy.
I mean, look him up. I'm going deep snapper.
I was like, is this like Make-A-Wish kind of stuff? Or
Dang.
is somebody just being
Tom Rinaldi's
like,
on the sideline?
dumb, right?
Dang.
Like somebody's doing this on purpose. There's no way that was a real joke.
I mean, that's a high school move. If
Yeah.
you're like, I'm not playing.
A
but
lower
know.
level high school, like
That's
JV
the thing.
freshman
I'm going to feel bad if that
high
really
school
was like a Make-A-Wish
move.
type situation.
No
though.
way it is. No
You think
way
it is Make-A-Wish?
No way. No way. I mean, they're not allowing those types of stories to dress out. You know what I mean? Like, not only that, like, standing in front of the ball.
I
Like,
know.
that's dangerous where he was
know.
standing.
But, like,
I mean, we
what
used to
else
stand.
makes sense?
I don't know, man. I
the
have no
problem.
idea. I mean, when you saw it, I mean, it was just like, this isn't real.
I stared at it forever, thinking, like, what am I looking at? Like, what? Is this a joke? Like, I couldn't figure but then it didn't seem like a joke, and then I
look
felt
at
bad
this
for
guy.
laughing.
The
and I was-
camera was
Got him.
able just to, like,
I mean,
Oh my God.
it was like, oh my God, zoom in on 50, zoom in on 50.
who was he? Do we know who he is?
I'm going deep snapper. Bring up Duquesne's roster,
Number
please.
50.
Pull it up if you
How
don't
do you
mind.
spell Duquesne?
Duquesne. Use it in a sentence. Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Dude, totally checked out.
There he is.
I mean, like,
Y'all, I mean, that's,
gloves.
Wrong
his
gloves.
name is Jack Dawson. He's a
mean,
defensive line junior.
Jack Godson?
Dawson.
Dawson.
Jack Dawson.
Junior
Fuck is
defensive lineman. Junior.
Where's he from?
Ayahuasca.
Really?
What? No, that's a drug that
What?
Aaron
I don't
Rodgers
know.
did. I'm just saying, this man totally just
Chagrin
on a
Falls,
different
Ohio.
planet.
Chagrin Falls High School. Y'all, I don't know. I mean,
It's an all-time
like-
look.
he's a real
He
guy.
looks like Peter Pan.
He's a
It's-
real guy. He's appeared in all the. I mean,
He plays?
yes, he played in all 5 games. Started the regular season finale last year.
Nothing more intimidating than Mel Campbell.
Played in 10 games as a sophomore.
Do you know how far you have to pull football pants up to get them that high?
I know, y'all.
That make them that size.
I mean, football pants, like, you got to, like, kick them out when you put them on. You know what I mean?
He won
like,
some awards. He was also a standout varsity wrestler.
Oh, dude, he's a
pants.
badass.
He really is. Like,
he's
his
a
resume's
badass.
pretty impressive.
So he's doing the thing.
And, like, look
He's
at him.
He's like, I dare you to
him.
mess with me.
Nothing's wrong with him. Look at his photo.
Oh, wow,
he's
dude.
normal.
Look at this guy, Jack
Yeah.
Dawson. He's not bad
Wait,
looking.
isn't that
On the
Titanic?
show.
Isn't that the guy from Titanic? Jack Dawson. That was Leo in Titanic. Yeah, that was familiar.
We're going after
He'd be
Dawson.
like
We got to
one of
get
your
him on the
French
show.
girls. Absolutely.
Oh, my God.
We
yeah.
got to get him on the
so
show.
many media requests.
Look at this-
280 pounds, 6'3".
Oh, I see all of it.
Y'all,
What a bold move, though, man.
I know.
That's we ain't winning
But
today.
why? Why did he do it?
He's
why
a
did he look
psychopath.
like
If he's
that?
a wrestler,
Maybe,
Try me.
hey, maybe he outsmarted the room
that's what I'm thinking.
and said, we're week 0, boys.
Okay, wait.
All eyeballs
up.
in college football
They're
are
on
on
me.
us.
Someone says
How can we stand out? We're 50-point underdogs.
Someone says that's an undershirt. His pants aren't up that high. It's a red T-shirt under his jersey. That is
I don't
hanging
no
down.
way.
know that,
Waistline,
dude.
though.
The
Go back to
Nike
it again.
check. Look at the Nike. Is that on the pants?
It is, y'all.
is.
Look, it's a red T-shirt
If you have it
underneath.
tucked in,
Underneath, he has his
How is
jersey
it
like
so
rolled up. The
seamless?
T-shirt's hanging down. Right?
So bizarre. It's like a leotard.
It is really weird.
Oh, it is a
looking.
shirt. Look,
It's
you
a
can
not
tell
a
it's
wrinkle.
wrinkling and
Wrinkle.
under the 50.
Yeah.
But how does it look? How did he get it to match?
I don't know.
Okay,
Well, I
Jack.
mean, they have a team uniform. I'm sure everything matches.
Does he
It's
know
the
that he
right
did
red.
this?
I don't.
Hell yeah, he knows now. It's everywhere on social media. Are you kidding?
No, but I'm saying like during the game, like
No,
nobody
he.
told
Are
him
you asking if he
anything.
purposely did that?
Right.
But like,
I
look
don't
how he's
think he
standing.
did.
And
Yeah,
everything.
it's like
he just looks like a big ape or something. I mean,
Well,
look
it
at his
just-
arms hanging down, his shoulders
And it
slumped.
would be different if he wasn't a player, but he's out
Right.
there like playing.
Coach
He
is a
is.
wrestler. Let me
He
tell you
is.
something. The worst person you want to mess with at the bar is the
Is the red-
wrestler.
Yeah, you always look for cauliflower ear.
Absolutely.
We gotta
Cauliflower
get him.
ear is a
It's a telltale
huge
sign, like,
tell
I don't
sign
wanna
that
be
you're a
here anymore.
badass.
Yeah.
But even if they're like out of training
I'm gonna DM him now.
and you shove a wrestler,
You'll know.
It's-
You'll know immediately.
as soon as they get their hands on you, you're like, oh shit.
I'm sorry.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm eating pavement at 8 a.m.
Oh my
It
god.
was a joke. It was a joke. I'm joking.
I love the guy.
Oh, me
mean,
too.
yeah.
I mean,
Jack Dawson.
Now that we know.
paint me
Wrestler.
like one of your French girls.
I'm in. What would you
Just
say?
like that.
That's from
Titanic.
Titanic.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find his DM, so I was late to the game on that.
All right. Remember our friends over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. All meals and bulk items are prepared fresh each week, specifically for each individual's order. Fresh produce delivered each week. Katie, tell them about it. What's the promo code?
Just like we practiced
Sorry, I'm
pre-show.
trying,
Yes.
trying to DM Jack Dawson. You can use the code Jordy to receive 10% off. Jordy 10, I'm sorry, for first-time customers only, 10% off your order. Get in there, y'all. I mean, I like arrived here this morning freaking stressed out about dinner tonight already. Get in there, get your bulk items for kids. My kids are at the stage now where they come in from school and they just start eating everything in the refrigerator and making things and like asking for leftovers.
Air frying?
Like this just started. I knew the day was coming, but now it's like I can't keep them fed. Get to Fresh Chef. You can get like bulk pans of buffalo chicken, rice, all the things. Keep your kids fed. Jordy 10 for 10% off.
All right, remember, we're going to talk to Ross Dellinger coming up here in 30 minutes as we will react to week 0 of the college football season. We will also look ahead to some of the matchups this weekend around the country, like Utah and Florida. What a tough opener for Billy Napier inside the swamp. As Utah,
You do?
number 7 in the country,
Aw,
going into
Billy.
Gainesville to the University of Florida. That'll be a
Shake my
Saturday,
Billy,
6 o'clock.
sweet
Billy
Billy
boy.
ESPN. And then we will also ask them about Cincinnati, Arkansas. It's a pretty intriguing week 1
That's a weird one.
matchup between the Bearcats and the Hogs. How about Dan Lanning in Oregon, former Georgia play caller, and now going up against Georgia. I think if there was one team that, the defensive coordinator, if there was one team that Georgia would have not liked to have played in their defense of the national championship, it would probably be Oregon because of Lanning and just how familiar he is with the program. You know, I mean, like he's kind of been on the inside, so we'll ask Dellenger, and we'll also talk to Jake Crain of Oregon, Georgia. Let me guess. Where is that? It's neutral site, right? Is it in Atlanta, though?
I don't have that. I just have home and away in the spread.
Georgia 3?
17.5.
Good
Really?
Lord.
I mean, you have to take Oregon. You just have to take it based on, like, that's 4 possessions. I mean, Dan Lanning sounds like the lamest Duck head coach of all time.
It does.
Pun intended. But,
I was about to say.
I mean, 17.5 is too much to sneeze at.
That is a lot of
That's
points.
a lot of points for what seems to be a marquee
That is
matchup
a
when you look at
lot
week 1.
of
Like,
points.
those are 2 premier names in college football, and you're giving somebody 17.5.
Yeah.
And you got the law firm at quarterback again. He tried to retire.
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett wanted nothing to do with college football. He tried to ride the wave out of town and was like, we did it. Georgia, first national championship since the 80s. They're like, actually, we need you back. And he's like, I don't want. I've been hungover since January.
It's been a hell of a victory lap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me come off this victory tour now.
Now? You can't even practice, and he gets a fade?
I mean, it's a bold move, but, I mean, he might look, he'll eat for free forever in Athens, right? He'll be the guy that the first national championship quarterback to win it since 1980. But that's a hell of a sunset to ride out on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And to come back and
He had to. They made him.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. And it's tough to say no to that. Like, how do you say no to doing it again?
I know.
'Cause
That would be
I
hard.
think he knows that they ain't going to repeat.
Oof.
I mean,
You think?
I mean,
I don't know if he
as much as I
does
hate to
think
say
that.
it, this is Bama's year.
Well, it feels like
every
it.
year's
Yeah.
Bama's year.
Feels
I
like
know,
it.
but they're
Christ.
they're coming back. How many starters are they returning?
All I
9
know is
on
that
offense,
they're bringing
9
back
on
Bryce Young
defense.
and Will Anderson. That's the 2 that you need to know about.
Yeah, somebody's going to win the Heisman out of those two.
Also, Notre Dame and Ohio State, an enormous matchup here in week 1, as that'll be obviously one that we talk about with Dellenger coming up. That'll be a Saturday 6:30 ABC matchup this weekend. So, look, man, football is here. I mean, like, it is. We're in it. We're going to the Brian Kelly press conference today. Katie and I were in the Dome on Friday night. Compliments of our
God.
friends over at Caesars. Remember, Caesars still an opportunity right now to get to LSU, Florida State. You have until Wednesday. That QR code's in the top right of the screen. And if you just scan that QR code and use the promo code, just a couple of more days here on this promo code, JCLSU15, JCLSU15, you'll have an opportunity to win 4 tickets to Florida State LSU. That winner will be announced coming up on Wednesday. We've also got some cool opportunities coming up from our friends over at Caesars, but make sure you scan the QR code, use the promo code JCLSU15 for still a limited opportunity to get in for Wednesday's giveaway to LSU Florida State for 4 tickets to that game. You have to make a deposit and you have to make a play. So make sure when you get there that you make a deposit and you make a play over at Caesars. But our friends over at Caesars, Dave and Amanda and the crew, gave us a couple of tickets to the field level, newly renovated suite inside of the Caesars Superdome. And man, it is awesome.
I walked in there and I was
In
like,
there.
this is not for real.
When you walk in
Freaking
first,
incredible.
if you've ever had the chance to sit in a field level suite, I know Dallas Cowboy Stadium has them. Atlanta has them over there with Mercedes-Benz Stadium
But
in
theirs are
in
different.
Atlanta.
Like, the
It
view's
is
not
very
as
different.
good.
I sat in the field level suite for the Oklahoma LSU game with
Tough lighting,
the
huh?
national semifinal, and it is literally impossible to watch live action.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you're just staring at the backs of these guys. You're right behind the sideline. Now, you're in it. You can hear and see and feel everything, but you got to watch the game on television. This is some first world problems I'm telling you about. I'm not really I'm not really complaining, but I'm just saying now having the experience of going to Caesars Superdome and sitting in Caesars suite.
I never want to sit anywhere else.
It's awesome. Now, obviously, when the game is on the other side of the field, right? I mean, you're 120 yards away from it. But
Who cares?
Kirk Merritt caught the touchdown right in front of us.
Mark Ingram scored 2 touchdown runs on both of
right
the
in
first
front.
possessions. I have it on video. It was amazing.
Amanda from Caesars was showing us some pictures before the game. She got there like 30 minutes before kickoff. Jameis is just like walking around field level and was like, hey, y'all want a selfie? She was like, hell yeah, we want a selfie. And Jameis just snaps a selfie with him. But I mean, the field level suite experience for the Saints game in the Dome, in the Caesars Superdome, it's awesome. And being inside the Dome, the new renovations, what they've done to kind of bring it more modern and make it feel like a 2022 edition of an NFL football stadium, looks great, feels great, and it was cool to be in there. And then the Saints balled,
They really
right?
did.
I mean, like, it was awesome. We were a little late getting there with the traffic, but
I wasn't. I saw the whole thing.
Katie saw
I
the
watched
whole thing.
everyone play. I watched both of Mark's touchdowns, like in my face. I could feel the sweat, basically.
Tyrann Mathieu makes the opening tackle of the game. Jarvis Landry makes the first catch of the game.
And Jameis
Winston, 4 for 4,
Yep.
capping off a touchdown drive in his only drive of the game. The thing I love about the Saints offense is that they're really good at quarterback. Like, I mean, there's not a lot of fall off, and you have a lot of confidence with Andy Dalton being the backup. You don't want to get there, but it is definitely, a pretty luxurious feeling to have a backup. Speaking of backups, Chase Daniels still taking snaps for the Chargers. I mean, what a career this guy has had.
I mean, it's amazing. Essentially laundering money at this point.
It was
an offshore
unbelievable.
account.
I was talking to Scott Craig. Scott Craig, what a personality this guy is. Total New Orleanian. Owns the bar and restaurant Katie's right there in Mid-City. Great spot to eat.
Such
Loves
good
the show. But just, I mean, total yat. You know what I mean? And we were just sitting there talking about Chase Daniels' career, man. I mean, is he sitting there still taking preseason snaps, living in L.A., playing for the Chargers, 12 years on the gig? You know what I mean? What
Trot
a
him out
pension!
there.
What a pension he's got built up by the NFL. He's played something like, I don't know, like the amount of snaps that he's played is something stupid, right? Relative to the amount of money that he's made, but just sitting in a great spot. It was also cool to see Will Clapp played every down for the Chargers at center. Talked to Big Clapper after the game. They were limited on numbers going into it, but a really good opportunity for him to go out there and show that he can handle that part of the game. Obviously, he was he played interior here at LSU. He played the center position. He was drafted because of his versatility late by the New Orleans Saints, and then in free agency this year. I think that he's going to be somebody that they will miss. I mean, it won't be glaring. But think about how much Clapp's been out there as far as this offensive line's concerned. And then after Friday night's news of Trevor Penning, and not that Clapp could give you any help on the outside at tackle, but, I mean, he did play that swing tight end spot where they would kind of put him in there as a sixth offensive lineman. Yeah, Penning got carted off, and it's been reported that it's going to that he's suffering from turf toe. And Ian Rappaport tweeted out that he's going to have to have surgery. He's going to be out indefinitely. But if you think back on turf toe injuries, turf toe is such a nagging, terrible injury for football players because all you can really do is stay off of it. And we've seen people go through this. I mean, the one that to me is the most glaring of turf toe injuries is always going to be Deion Sanders. I mean, Deion was plagued by turf toe for a couple of seasons, like in his prime. Like he couldn't get over it. And, I remember somebody would kind of like make the reference of, like get over turf toe, and he would tell you like just how painful it is. But then you kind of go do and dig up some stuff on turf toe. I mean, like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's missed time with this injury. We've seen, other players. I remember A.J. Green came back a couple of years ago a little too early, ended up having to miss the entire rest of the year because of pushing a turf toe injury. Just with Penning, I hate to think from his development standpoint, because it seemed like he was on a good track to play, that he is going to, obviously that's going to be halted with having to rehab this injury that could nag at you just all season. Now, look, full disclosure, I think if James Hurst and Trevor Penning are exactly healthy or, 100% healthy going into the season opener, I still think Hurst is probably the guy. From Penning's standpoint, you don't lose a starter, but you lose a really quality backup. And I think it'll tell you a lot of what happens or what they feel about Penning's injury coming up on Wednesday, because they're kind of in a spot where when it comes to the 53, how are you going to designate him? and whether they designate him, you can't put him on IR right now or have to miss the entire year. But if he can make the 53, and then you can kind of, massage the numbers and move him to IR, you can get him. I think, typically this is like a 4 to 6 week injury, turf toe. But again, it's something that if you get out there too early, or if you're not really over it, or, if you just saw what happened to him, he just kind of got rolled up on from the back. It's like jamming your toes, like jamming your fingers. It's like, jamming your toes is kind of like what it really is. And when you jam your fingers, it sucks for a couple of days, but with your toes, it's a little different because you're walking on them constantly. You're pushing off if you're an offensive lineman. There's just a lot of, it doesn't seem like it would be that crucial of an injury, but it's something that can put you on the shelf for a while. It sucks for Penning because, he was tracking. He was getting to a point where I think he was going to be a really nice piece for them, or somebody that they could go to on that offensive line. So it'll be it'll be interesting to see how they kind of handle this because they're in a spot as far as the numbers go, of just what they're going to do on Wednesday, and how they designate him.
Who do they have Wednesday?
Oh, well, on Wednesday is when you get down to the 53.
Oh, okay.
You got to make your final cuts.
Oh, that's right.
Hardknocks.com.
To get to that final number. Ace Jordan, somebody listening to Locked On Saints every day, bro. I listen to Locked On Saints with Ross Jackson because of that. Just the information that you can get on, timelines for cuts and what would happen if they place, Penning on IR. And what could happen just to the numbers and how they'll get there. It'd also be interesting to see what goes on with Traquan Smith, who looked like he had a pretty brutal injury the other night. I don't know if it was his shoulder,
or collarbone. I don't think they really said yet. One of the two.
Either way, he was on the cut line, and Kirk Merritt had a nice night.
Oh, my gosh.
9-yard touchdown
reception
grab.
from Ian Buck. He was amazing.
Right in front of us.
He was amazing.
Louisiana kid,
Yeah, Desterhan.
Absolutely, man. Was a stud coming out in recruiting.
He'll make the squad.
Ended up in Oregon.
I think so.
I don't know if they can tuck it. I think he's got to make the 53 because I don't think he's a guy that they can tuck away on the practice squad. I think that he would be scooped up. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. I think he's going to make the team.
Yeah, no, I think he is too. And I think Traquan's going to be out, and that injury was kind of.
They just re-signed Traquan too.
No, that's too bad.
Well, he stinks.
He's just not.
He's not
consistent.
checked in. He doesn't seem like he cares. And I hate to say that. But.
Remember, daily, we're brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Our friends over at Barker Brothers bring you our show daily. And as we always tell you, if you mention the Jordy Culotta show, it'll save you 15% on the bottom line over there at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Industrial plumbing, residential plumbing, commercial plumbing, they can help you out with all of their services over there. They're number one and a number two business over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Let them help you today. Get in touch with Jude and the crew. No social media, no website. You got to call them. 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431 is the phone number to get in touch with Jude Barker and the crew over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, where they can help you today. Number one and number two business. Mention the Jordy Culotta show and save yourself some money. 15 minutes from now, we're going to talk to Ross Dellinger. In 45 minutes, we will talk to Jake Crain.
Still need to see
we will also talk more about this LSU matchup with Florida State coming up here in week one. Lots to get to here on a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll be back with more right after this.
Football.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com. We love the crew over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Chef Shane and his crew dropping off the meals every Monday here to FM Digital Media, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. Me or the crew's going through our meals over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Their weekly pre-order, freshly made meals, or you can walk into the cooler over there on Airline Highway. They have that fresh, same service over there at Fresh Chef Eats. FreshChefEats.com is where you can find them online. Fresh Chef Kitchen. Tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacey, Greg Brooks. Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Do you suffer from chronic dehydration? Are you looking to improve your athletic performance and you need to get over and see our friends over at GoFlow IV? They're located on Jefferson Highway. Easy to find them online at GEAUXFlowIV.com. Make sure and use the promo code Jordy Culotta Show. If you do, they'll take 15% off of your initial visit. Check them out online, GEAUXFlowIV.com.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live on this Monday. It is game week. It's football. Football.
Sunday.
Football. Speaking of football, the University of Zachary High School.
I was like,
I mean,
what?
bro, I was at this place on Saturday morning. By the way, make sure you're following Dawn of a Legacy, Battle for the City, all over social media. YouTube page is where we're going to launch all this stuff, or at least right now. A couple of you have had some suggestions. And look, we're kind of tucking it away for a couple of weeks here to see if we can't build up some intrigue, some advertisers. If you have a better idea where we should launch this thing, not on its own YouTube station, and can get us in touch with a streaming service, we're all ears.
Are people telling you
Jordy,
they have better ideas?
Jordy at Effem, EFFEMM. It's
Dot.
two of every letters. Two of every letters. 2 E's, 2 F's, 2 M's. EFFEMM.co. Co. Jordy at FM.co for the email address to get in with us. But Dawn of a Legacy, Battle of the City, we are entrenched with both Woodlawn and Zachary over the next couple of weeks, and we've got full access. It was awesome.
Pretty impressive.
Last week to be inside of some of the coaches' meetings and get some of the interviews
Or just set the
over at
spread.
Woodlawn. Excuse me?
What would the spread be?
Lizzie. Dude, after seeing
'em.
Zachary's operation on Saturday morning,
Well-oiled machine.
it is a machine, bro. It is a machine. There are colleges all across the Southeast
That doesn't always make you win, though.
that would. No?
Look at Episcopal's facilities.
No, and I'm not even going to the facility. The facilities are incredible. But the attention to detail that they pay inside of that football program to every single thing that goes on. It is like a college football program. I mean, it is run. It is expected. It is, I mean, this guy, Eli Holstein, my first time to meet him on Saturday morning, I'm just going to give you a little bit of Eli Holstein of what you get from Zachary's quarterback. And if you were a head coach, how secure would you feel if this was your guy? Every Sunday night, he has over the backs and receivers to his house.
A little pizza night?
They watch film that he's breaking down. No
Over to
parents.
his mom's house?
No film. No none of that stuff. Yeah, to his mom's house. Every Tuesday, he's meeting with the offensive coordinator to go over the week's plays. Every Wednesday, he's having the entire offense over. I know that's the stuff that doesn't win, but I'm just talking about the maturity of what goes on, of watching that program up close. And obviously on the other side with Woodlawn, they were not able to play their jamboree on Thursday night because of the rain and because being washed out because of the weather. On Friday night, Zachary played LCA, Trev Falk, Sage Ryan, Jordan Allen, all those guys that have come out of that program over the last couple of years and still pumping out recruits. They beat those guys 24-0 in a half of a game. Eli Holstein had 3 touchdown passes. They are and look like, they feel like kind of like West Monroe was when I was growing up. I mean, they kind of feel, they have that feel to them of that it's just a train running down the tracks now, and that all, everybody's role is so well defined and everybody knows. I mean, they got like Jerry Garrydale over there, who is an absolute legend.
Who is that? From
Catholic High. When I was there, Garrydale he had been at Catholic High. I graduated in '99. I spent 2 years at Catholic High before I transferred out to Parkview, or asked to leave.
Transferred out. You went in the portal.
But Garrydale, when I was at Catholic High in '96, '97, he had been there for 25 years. You know what I mean? Like, he was, at that point, was already like this legendary baseball coach, defensive coordinator. And now, like, Garrydale, and this is not by any means he loves what he does, but like, he does the laundry at Zachary. You know what I mean? Like, to have, like, that's the type of guys you just got hanging around.
He's just in it.
You know what I mean? He's like, he
Jerry
teaches,
Garrydale. What a
teaches
name.
elementary, with double G.
Coach.
Really?
Yeah, 2 G's. G on the Jerry, G on the Garrydale.
That's Coach
amazing.
Jerry.
Always has the cup. Always had the cup. Back in the day when I was in
like
PE,
the cup?
like, you know,
Oh.
it was
What's
like
in
a
it?
like
Whiskey
a
cup?
yeah, and you couldn't get close to it. Like if you hey boy, get away from that cup.
Yeah.
Culotta, let me how many times I gotta tell you get away from that cup, boy.
You don't want none of that.
Yeah, coach, I just ran a lap. I'm trying to get a sip. You touch that cup, boy, you going to the office, boy.
What's in it?
Whiskey, no doubt.
You think so?
You know, I mean,
it's cool.
Who knows?
If you can pull it off for this long.
Still though,
Yeah,
still
it's a long
just
time.
still holding the cup.
Functional.
Chris Carrier, you know, I mean, all SEC defensive back, played a long time in the league. He's over there. I mean, there's just Coach Nagel. I mean, there's just it's
culture.
It feels like college football. It's from the other side of town, right? Like that's in northern part of East Baton Rouge, up there in Zachary. Completely on the other side of the town is Woodlawn, with a totally different feel around their program. Like it's still like all the coaches still share one office. You know what I mean? Like they got to get the weight room when they can. And it's not to say that Woodlawn's facilities by any means are like below grade, because they're not. It's just when you go out to Zachary looks and feels like Alabama football.
I want to compare it. I've only been to Woodlawn now, and I was impressed.
I mean, we're going to Zachary on Thursday.
Okay.
For the Rotary.
Yeah, that's right.
And we'll go out there and see the crew. But I mean, you have to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've been knowing Brew forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been cool with Brew since he was at Redemptorist.
And he's your quintessential high school football coach, but he's running a factory,
Dude.
and you're like the most unassuming man of all time. Like, oh, I don't know how good of a high school. He just looks like high school football, and it's like, actually, I'm building a dynasty.
Do
Here's
I
some
wear
gear.
my Zachary gear when I go? Like the whole coach's uniform?
You should.
That we have?
They're just that type of stuff too. You know what I mean? Like it's
the gear.
Gets it.
It's awesome, man. I mean, it was so cool to see that, and thank you to Marcus Randall at Woodlawn and to David Brewerton at Zachary High School, because we believe that we're going to be able to put together something really cool, kind of with the all access that they have granted us for this huge game on ESPN coming up on Thursday, October 6th, which right now is scheduled to go down at Woodlawn. I really don't. And look, again, I'm not trying to take a home game away from anybody, but this feels like this thing needs to be at like Memorial. It feels like it needs to be at like a venue that can seat, 15,000 people, 20,000 people.
Would there be that many there?
It's on a Thursday night. It's going to be on ESPN. I think potentially both teams could go into the matchup. Now, both of them, this is another thing that you love about both programs, they don't run from anybody. Like they're non-conference, their build-up to this game, which, by the way, is a district game, which is crazy that a district game in Baton Rouge is going to be nationally televised. But the build-up to this game and the teams that, that each side play it's crazy. I mean,
isn't that Alabama A&M also? October 6th.
Well, that's a Thursday night. I think it might be October 8th.
Is it?
Saturday.
Okay. Why was I thinking it was a Thursday night game?
No, not that game. It'll be a Saturday night game.
Okay.
It'll
So
be a
the 8th.
primetime game. But we'll talk to Ross Dellinger coming up here in a couple of minutes.
I was like,
Not. Did you hear the song this weekend?
What, CBS?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
And it just it didn't hit right. It wasn't the same.
Well, it's not going to hit when,
Scott Frost is out there fumbling 11-point leads with an onside kick.
Scott Frost.
Hot seat.
I mean.
Week
hot
0
seat.
hot seat.
It's been hot for years. I mean.
Where was he before this? Somewhere where he was killing it.
Yeah, UCF. He carried on.
And he played quarterback at
Did
Nebraska, right?
Heupel carried on what he started. But Scott Frost, I mean, he had that program. He turned down the Florida job. You know the balls it takes? There's only 14 of these gigs in the country, Scotty, in the world, that pay SEC football coaches the way they do and treat them like gods.
Good at it, though.
And you've got one of the national champs over the last 12 years asking you to run the program in a state what you've been cleaning up. And he goes back home to Lincoln, Nebraska, a graveyard for football coaches now, especially in an NIL world. I don't care if you brought back Tom Osborne and
Bo Pelini.
brought back everybody. from Nebraska. It don't matter. Hell, Mickey Joseph is now coaching wide receivers there. If they put him back at quarterback when he was the number 1 recruit in the country coming out, it doesn't matter, man. Nebraska is a death wish for football coaches. Scott Frost was Nebraska's favorite son. He was a quarterback for Nebraska. I mean, like,
really?
They hate him now.
Did you read his quote that he made about the call?
No.
He said, I made that call, so it's on me. I felt all the momentum was on our side. I felt like maybe we were the better team. Those are excuses. If I had it over, I wouldn't have made the call.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Enjoy your time at Alabama. Tell your wife to start looking for houses in Tuscaloosa. It is only a matter of time before you're an offensive shadow staffer in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, jeez, Jordy.
I mean, where else is he going to go now?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to go to Saban's football rehab facility. I mean, he's got to go get his PR. He's got to go get his image right. I mean, he has totally just crapped himself at his school. I mean, I don't really know. Trev Alberts is the AD, the old longtime Nebraska great, the old Nebraska great. I mean, they've brought back they've brought back all the names, like
Detroit Lions, be wary
to try and like facade you from just how miserable everything is around there.
So
but
he's not coming back, huh? He's not going to return in 23.
I don't know how he finishes the year though.
Really? I don't think they can.
Wait, you don't think they'll fire him, and you think they
I do.
will?
I think they will.
Okay.
I think it's going to get
stuck with the legacy.
I think it's going to get too bad.
You brought in so many transfers. You brought Mickey Joseph back. Trey Palmer balled out a little bit. He played well.
Yeah, hopefully
he's good. Yeah, he's a good player.
But if they don't win games, he's gone.
I know, but I feel like they're kind of stuck in this honey hole of like Scott Frost is the guy that's going to bring us back, and who else is out there? Like, where do you go from this? Obviously, Scott Frost is doing a great job, and it's almost comedy at this point. But
it is comedy.
They have played. And they're in every game. He just kind of shoots himself right in the foot.
Yeah. Right in the what?
Right in the foot. Before every it just they should have lost that game at any amount of time. And the Northwestern and Pat Fitzgerald was just hanging around. They couldn't have played a worse team week 0 than for that to happen. Because Northwestern, that's Northwestern football right in your face. We're gonna hang around, put the Irish decal on our head, change our colors. And then they're just going to be in every game. And that was the worst-case scenario for Nebraska to actually have a well-coached team go against you.
Emil McClellan says, after Saturday's loss, Frost is now 15-30 at Nebraska. Bo Pelini was fired after going 67-27. If Frost wins his next 50 games in a row, he would still have a worse record at Nebraska than Bo did.
That's
Bring
sad.
back Bo Pelini. Go ahead. What time's kickoff? I'll be there. Not in an hour before, not a minute before. But kick, I'll be there.
7:01, I'll be there.
Dude,
y'all can handle the coin toss, right?
Yeah, ripping it. Don't onside kick it.
Why did he do that?
I said Ogeron used to want to fight him in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
You tell Pelini if he comes in here a minute later, I'm going to kick his ass.
Put another one on the list. Yeah, I mean, Jesus. Do it already.
It's like clockwork. They'd call 8 o'clock team staff meetings. Pelini be coming over those train tracks on 3 wheels. Just jumping it, going over Skip Burtman, whipping into the parking lot. Keep it running in the parking lot, kind of fast walking upstairs. What'd I miss, Coach? You missed me telling everybody I'm going to kick your ass after practice today.
Just FaceTime me in. We're doing offense first, right?
I understand that it would have put them in a prime position to win the game if they would have made that kick, but why
Can't
make
do that,
decision?
Can't do it.
Why make that decision?
I think he just told you.
Oh, we got
Delly.
Well, I know he said he wouldn't do it again, but what was he thinking?
For the same back, and we're going to get to Delly with this. For as much as we're talking about how Scott Frost is he can't get it figured out.
Can't get it up.
Can't do it. Can't do it. How about How about Fitzgerald at Northwestern? Bet against that guy.
That's what I didn't.
I mean, he's like Belichick. He's like Saban. I mean, you bet against him, bro. He'll take your money every time. And how the hell would you bet against Fitzgerald going to Ireland, going home?
They sold.
Like betting against a Culotta in Italy. Okay, what we got to do? We're winning today, boys. Call Don Corleone. How much eligibility does he have left? We know how much eligibility Ross Dellinger has, and he's got minutes for us here coming off of a call. So let's jump up to, I believe, Washington, D.C. with our guy from Sports Illustrated here, on this Monday morning. Let me get these headsets on so I can hear Delly. Delly, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Morning, Jordy. How are you?
I'm doing good. Week 0, we were talking about Scott Frost's. Delly, this has not worked out for the Nebraska Sun former quarterback. Why has this gone so bad, in your opinion?
Yeah, coaching hires, man, are really a crapshoot, and there's no more evidence of that than this situation. I think everybody figured that Scott Frost was if there's any surefire, head coaching guarantee on success, that it was this guy going to Nebraska. And there was a couple of them actually over the last few years that you thought this should work, and it didn't work. And that this is one of them. And Tom Herman at Texas, I think, was another one that a lot of people thought, oh man, that this can't lose. This can't fail. And they both did, or Scott's on the way to failing and getting fired. It would seem, and it's just further evidence, Jordy, that it really is a crapshoot, And then there's really probably only 2 or 3 coaches out there that would guarantee you success in hiring at the college football head coaching level. And it's just, that's the way it is, man. It's just kind of a roll of the dice.
Can anyone win at Nebraska in the addition of college football and how you play it now? NIL, money, recruiting, all that goes into being relevant. How far away is Nebraska? Does it matter?
I think that a lot of the football powers, the old football powers that had a lot of success, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and now we see them struggling, all have something relatively in common. And these ones are, the Nebraskas, the Tennessees, right? Even to an extent, maybe USC and Miami,
Notre Dame.
Yeah, and the University of Texas. Although Notre Dame, they made the playoff a couple years, the last few years. But these other teams, they haven't sniffed the playoff in the last decade or two. And I think that with NIL, you mentioned NIL. Thing is Nebraska's doing NIL pretty well from what I hear. They're about as ambitious of collectives up there as they've got. It's like, so they should, and all those other teams, what I was getting at is all those other teams, those powerhouses that have faded, they're all doing NIL really well. They're all really ambitious with NIL. We wrote a story on it a couple of weeks ago. The Miami's, A&M's, Texas, Tennessee's, USC, Nebraska, they're all doing NIL just about as well as anybody. And they're all, you're talking about millions of dollars distributing among their athletes. But for whatever reason just not working. And Jordy, there's a couple of LSU guys on that staff, former LSU coaches on that staff. And I was texting a little bit with a few of them, and man, they were so pumped for this game, it seemed like, and they knew how big the game was, and they knew they really had to win. All that pressure and everything, and obviously they come away with, not just did they lose, but losing how they did, twice up 11 points to give it away like that. And then the stat is truly remarkable. Scott Frost is 5-21 in 1-score games at Nebraska. Oh. It's just, it's incredible.
Oh gosh, that is a bad stat.
That was probable.
And on the other sideline, do we give Pat Fitzgerald enough credit for what he does at Northwestern? I know that they've had some attention come his way from some NFL squads, but how good of a job does he do at Northwestern?
Yeah, it's incredible. He probably doesn't get enough attention. And I think they won a division championship twice in the last 4 years, I want to say, the Big Ten West. It's incredible that can be done at a place like Northwestern. So it really is truly remarkable what he's done. And he has put off a lot of other I think, chances to leave. I think he probably could be coaching the NFL if he wanted. Yeah. He probably could be coaching a lot of other, high-level college jobs if he wanted as well.
Auburn names T.J. Finley, their starting quarterback, down in the Plains with Brian Harsin. What'd you make of that choice by Harsin to go with the Louisiana native?
Yeah, I think some people were a little bit surprised. They thought he was losing the grip on the job, and then he got into a little off the field trouble involving a motorcycle, I believe, and a helmet, and then eluding police. So I think a lot of people had thought he had lost the grip on the job, but I never got really, from talking to Auburn people, I really never got that sense. They brought him in to kind of be the guy, I think, and talk about pressure, right, on winning and coaches being fired. That's probably the one that would be the next most likely one behind Scott Frost is Brian Harsin's situation at Auburn.
Texas A&M names their quarterback in Haynes King over the weekend, beating out Max Johnson, another LSU transfer. What do you expect from A&M this season going into it, Ross, after the announcement over the weekend?
Yeah, big talking about pressure. We keep talking about pressure and coaches being fired, but you reel in, and we talked about it earlier with Nebraska. Like, these teams are using NIL the most ambitiously, and A&M's right up there. They're doing it just as good as anybody else, and just as ambitious as anybody else. They're really aggressive about it, and no matter what Jimbo says, right? They have partaken in the NIL game, and when you sign the number one ranked recruiting class, like they did, the number one ranked recruiting class ever, like they did this past year. I think they had 8 5-stars in the class. They hadn't signed 8 5-stars in 6 years combined, previous 6 years combined. So when you do that, right, it's pressure to win. And no matter if those guys are freshmen, right, it's pressure to win immediately. So there's definitely the heat, so to speak, is kind of on there in College Station. I do not know what to expect from them. I really don't. They lost a good amount from last year, and turnover obviously at the quarterback position, and they brought Max in, and then obviously picked Haynes, which some people, I think a lot of people kind of assume was going to maybe happen, but and he's really talented, but it's pressure cooker over there, and schedule doesn't obviously do them any favors, just like anybody in the SEC West. But a lot of money being spent over there, and when you spend that much money, you better start winning, and winning consistently.
Florida State beat Duquesne 47-7 on Saturday. Where is Mike Norvell going into this season, and what type of year does he need to maybe get himself entrenched there in Tallahassee?
Yeah, more coaches on the hot seat, right? I mean, if it's Scott Frost and Brian Harsin at Auburn, and probably Herm Edwards because of NCAA stuff at Arizona State, those are probably the top 3, and then probably not too far behind that is Mike Norvell. And FSU's administration has come out publicly, I think, quite a bit in support of him. There seems to be a belief that he can get it done. But until you get it done, you hadn't got it done. And certainly was big for them to open the season like they did. I think everybody expected them to win. But then again, we all know, they lost a couple times to FCS opponents the last few years. So they put those fears to bed pretty quickly. I saw they had 3 100-yard rushers. So they've got a pretty good stock of running backs there. I know one of the best backs they have is former walk-on that is now a scholarship player. So big. I'm sure they're going to come to that LSU game right on Sunday, trying to run the football. So that's a big game. I mean, it just for Mike Norvell and his tenure, that game feels like the Nebraska Northwestern game for Scott Frost. It feels like, man, you've got to win. In order to have a good season and kind of save your job, you probably need to win this game. That one has that feel to it.
from the standpoint of Brian Kelly and LSU, we've seen people name their starters around the country. We've yet to hear it from Kelly. I believe he'll probably make a comment about it today at his press conference coming up at noon. What do you make of LSU heading into the season under his direction after you've had a chance to hear about some of the fall practices and listen to the media tours?
Yeah, the quarterback thing was all very interesting. Obviously, Miles stepping away from football, and Jaden and Nussmeier, kind of going back and forth, it appears. It was weird, that whole quarterback battle, because during the spring, I kind of heard that, Jaden had some struggles, especially throwing the ball down the field. And Miles was, fairly impressive here and there. And then it seems like Jaden's gotten a lot better, in fall camp, maybe through over the summer. And they seem to like him. And obviously he brings a dynamic there, right? Running the football. That was something I think made clear to Miles on his exit was, the mobility issue. Jaden brings a mobility issue. So does Nussmeier, from what I understand. But obviously Jaden has really quick feet. I mean, he's one of the fastest quarterbacks probably in the nation. And so I would lean that way, that direction, I guess. But I know they do like Nussmeier a lot. But if he wants to, I know the O-line is kind of a little bit of a patchwork. And I know there's some fears there in the offensive line and the issues that they might have. So if you've got fear in your offensive line, you better have a running quarterback who can escape, right? So I think it seems like things are leaning that direction. And I guess, he might say something today about it, as we have, it's what everybody wants to know, although it might not matter until a few games into the season, is who's going to be your starting quarterback, because, LSU could be like a lot of teams where they might play a little bit of both, early on.
Yeah. Take me back to Auburn real quick. Alan Green, their athletic director, resigned over the weekend. What does that do for Harsin and where he is, and for the leadership at that university right now?
Yeah, the two guys that hired Brian Harsin are gone. The president isn't there any longer that hired him, and now the athletic director isn't there any longer. Not good for him, obviously. It was probably not going to be great for him in the end either way. I think everybody saw the writing on the wall this past spring when they tried to oust him. Some power brokers and boosters around the athletic department tried to drum up, sounded like an investigation into his character and off the field kind of issues, and trying to get him out. They failed in doing so, and but that's never a great sign. So I think barring him, barring Auburn dominating on the field, I would think that we'll have an open job there in Auburn. Alan Green picked Brian Harsin, and I think some people around the university maybe didn't agree with it, and so they tried to get him out, and I'm sure they'll try again.
Delly, last one, I'll get you out of here. It seems like it's Alabama and Ohio State from a national landscape going into the season. How do you view this year? How do you like the competitive balance within the college football structure going into the season?
Well, we haven't had parity for a while in college football, I don't see us having parity this year or really anytime soon. I think the gaps continue to grow. The one thing I think that could bring parity, as surprising as this is NIL. And we talked about those powerhouse programs who have fallen on hard times lately, the Nebraskas, the Tennessees, USCs, Miamis, A&M, Texas. Those programs are doing NIL well and ambitiously. It'll be interesting to see what kind of seasons they have over the next couple of years. That will be kind of a justification that NIL works, sort of, so to speak. Or if they fail, maybe it doesn't matter. But I don't see that we'll have a whole lot of parity this year, I like Alabama and Ohio State. I picked them to play in the championship game and Alabama to win it. I think I picked Clemson in there, big surprise to make the playoff. And then I did pick an outlier in USC to make it. Maybe we'll have there's always that third team. Usually you have some kind of makeup of Northwestern, of Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and then there's like that fourth or fifth team. And this year I got USC, but so hopefully we'll have a little infusion of a different some dash of parity.
Delly, how's your schedule work on Saturdays? You traveling this year, or are you going to be taking it in from the house?
No, yeah, I'll travel. I'll probably travel to three games a month. 3 of every 4 games or so. I'll travel, so I'll be down there Sunday night for Florida State, LSU, and I'll be coming in from Pittsburgh. I'm doing the backyard brawl on Thursday night, Pitt in West Virginia.
Nice. Biggest game of the weekend, Ohio State, Notre Dame, on paper?
Yeah, probably so. Probably won't be the best game
right.
of the weekend, I have a feeling. But probably, as far as the stakes and such, yeah. I mean, you got number 2 against number 5. That's pretty significant. Should shape the playoff path a little bit.
All right, Delly. See you in New Orleans, bro. Safe travels. Thank you again for this morning.
All right, guys. Yep.
See y'all. There he is, Ross Dellinger, checking in from Sports Illustrated.
Brought to you by SNL Pest Services. Our guy Sheldon, it's family owned and operated. Excellent customer service, fast response time. And when we say fast response time, literally a flea jumped on us and I emailed them and Sheldon was here the next morning. Got us under control. We're not locked out of our bathroom anymore. We are flea free. Call them for all your pest control needs. They do termites, they do spiders, roaches, ants, all the other things, and rodents too, small rodents. Call them at 225-262-0496. That's SNL Pest Services.
Good stuff from Ross Dellinger. When we come back, we'll talk to Jake Crain. We'll stay on the national landscape and talk more about the college football weekend. What to expect LSU, Florida State on Sunday night from the Caesars Superdome. Remember, our friends over at Caesars still giving you an opportunity to get into that game on Sunday. 4 tickets from our friends over at Caesars. All you have to do is enter to win. If you see that QR code up at the top right of the screen, walk your phone up to it, open the QR code, use the promo code JCLSU15 when you sign up for a membership over at Caesars Sportsbook. You've got to make a deposit. You've got to make a bet to be entered to win 4 tickets to LSU Florida State coming up on Sunday night. Compliments of our friends over at Caesars Sportsbook. When we come back, we will talk to Jake Crain from Crain & Company, get more of an outlook for this weekend, ask him a little bit to recap on week 0, and we'll look ahead to some of the big games coming up here in week 1. College football season. Come back with us here. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Over-under on puns from Jake Crain. 4.5.
I was going to say 3, so I'll take the
3.5.
Bold.
Okay. Yeah.
Game week, though.
It
could be popping.
What I'm saying, yeah. It could be
popping.
Ripe.
All right.
All right.
Hey, I really like this kid. I'm not going to talk about the on-3 rankings as being underrated, but he's a kid that I think by the end of his senior season is going to have a stock up. I got to see him out in Las Vegas a couple of months ago, and he's about 6'2", 180 plus pounds. He moves really naturally. I think he's a little bit raw, and I think he needs a little bit of coaching. Develop, see if he can, get his hips out a little bit better. He's got a little bit to go, but, physically he stands out. I think he plays receiver and DB for Bishop Gorman, one of the top powerhouses in the high school level in the country. He plays on the same team as Zachariah Branch and gets to defend him every single day. So I think he's going to get better and he's going to go to LSU and continue to develop. I think he's a little bit raw at this stage. Maybe he's a little bit underrated, but he's someone that, going to work with Robert Steeples and be a big corner, work on the boundary. And that's an area of need for LSU in this 2023 cycle.
Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com. Do you suffer from chronic dehydration? Are you looking to improve your athletic performance and you need to get over and see our friends over at GoFlow IV? They're located on Jefferson Highway. Easy to find them online at GEAUXFlowIV.com. Make sure and use the promo code Jordy Culotta Show. If you do, they'll take 15% off of your initial visit. Check them out online, GEAUXFlowIV.com. I mean, I think Dante Moore is the guy that they are waiting to find out what happens next. You're on camera, Lloyd.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't think he's coming.
I really think that Ricky Collins is going to be the quarterback that LSU is going after. I really do. We had Denbrock through here. We had Joe Sloan through here. We've talked to Marcus Randall. We've talked to Rohan Davey. We've talked to people around Collins, and I think LSU feels that he's the one that they want, and he's the one that they can get at this point.
What did Marcus say?
That LSU needs to pick it up. You know, I mean, I think that.
Oh, they're making up ground, I'm sure.
But look, Joe Sloan's done great with the quarterbacks. He really has. I think that Sloan is, he is a relationship builder. He is a guy that understands and really embraces recruiting, and he knows that they need to sign a quarterback in this class. And Ricky Collins is an SEC caliber quarterback that, LSU just, they didn't have the relationship. The program didn't have the relationship built like it needed to be once Kelly and them took the job over. So they had to make up some ground. But I do believe that when it's all said and done, when it all shakes out, I think LSU is going to get a quarterback, and I think that it's going to be Ricky Collins. I'm not saying that the sky is falling, but I'm saying you're starting to see trends that are not normal within Louisiana recruiting, where you're seeing routinely the top players. I know that Arch Manning was never coming to LSU. Hell, I even know Eli Holstein was never coming to LSU. But I thought Derek Williams was going to come down to the end and he was going to have a chance to go to LSU. It felt like Derek Williams was never even close to coming to LSU. Right? And maybe it's the money. Maybe it is. I don't know what the deciding factor is. I know this, that after last night, I got some reaction from some college coaches around the country that just saw it, and they have Louisiana ties. It's nobody that's like watching the show looking. It's people that are just curious about what's going on at LSU and have Louisiana ties that are on staffs right now at Power 5 schools, and said, bro, you're spot on when you're talking about Frank Wilson. As somebody that is recruiting against LSU, that is going into Louisiana, we're looking around and we see purple and gold polos coming through the schools, and everybody's wondering, why isn't Frank here? Why isn't Frank in Louisiana? I'm not saying that it's right, wrong, or it's indifferent. I'm just telling you that the competition is saying, hey, man, there's a hole opening right now in Louisiana because they don't have their top soldier protecting it. What else we got? One more. Voicemail. Hang on 1 second, Jamil. We're coming to you after this voicemail.
Jamil's just in there talking. We're all snapping at her. Shut up.
Shut up back there.
I was just calling to find out when the Jordy Culotta Invitational is going down. Don't make it soon because it's too damn hot. I know y'all know that with the lack of AC going on at the joint. And if Rico Delgado's listening, he's a bitch. Send my condolences to Jock. Bye. I was just calling to find.
That's awesome.
Bro,
He
that's
is
the Call
listening.
Hall of Fame. There it is.
That is.
That's the one seed.
That's what we needed.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's what we've been looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't play it long. And you know what? We need to cut that up. Play that last part again. Let me hear that last part. We should be able to cut this part up.
I know y'all know that with the lack of AC going on at the joint. And if Rico Delgado's listening, he's a bitch. Sorry, WAFB.
Sorry, WAFB.
That'll be a fine wherever you are. Whoever you are, where are you calling from?
Spring, Texas.
Okay, I
Send
love
us
it,
a
dude. See, that's what we need. We need to know your name.
Hey, Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
All right, welcome back here to a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember, we're always brought to you by our friends over at Go. Check them out online at GEAUXChevrolet.com, GEAUXChevrolet.com, or if you want to stop and see them here in Baton Rouge, they got a used car lot, Go Express Auto, that you can pick up a used car over there at Florida Boulevard, Sherwood Forest. If you want to shop new cars over in LaPlace, Louisiana, all the inventory is online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. We'll link up with Jake Crain here in a couple of minutes here to talk about the college football opening weekend, including what's going on at Michigan, bro. Did you see this where Michigan Harbaugh is giving – he's got 2 quarterbacks going after this thing.
Yeah, what is the deal with that?
And he's allowing one
He
to
wants to play quarterback.
start this way, absolutely. Cade McNamara and J.J. McCarthy. One is, does that sound very Michigan?
It sounds like they've been there forever.
One starts week 1. The other starts week 2. I believe McNamara is going to start on Saturday.
Tell Jake we have audio but no video of him.
McNamara is the incumbent.
You gotta turn the camera on.
Why do you decide that in season? Like, how is that okay?
Yeah. And those 2 games are Colorado State and Hawaii.
That's why.
Setting up for Connecticut.
What do you mean
Because
that's
Hawaii
why?
is a fucking wagon. If you saw what happened against Vanderbilt, like you have time to make the decision. LSU would be doing the same thing, I would imagine. If it wasn't Florida State week 1, you'd be like, all right, let's him get some game reps with the ones. Let's let the next one get some game reps with the ones, and then you kind of decide from there. But LSU's in the precarious position of, we got to win week 1 with the new head coach, and I'm not quite sure who the quarterback is, so we're going to play both.
Well, how is it fair for one to start against Colorado State and the other to start
tough
against?
titties.
Yeah, it's not
Hawaii?
fair.
I mean, but
Yeah.
it's not. Like, how
Nothing-
is that a fair assessment?
Nothing's
even?
fair, but I mean, in college football, but
There he is.
But isn't it weird to do that in season and then you make your decision for game 3?
I think,
you're
I
2
think that's
games
what
in.
I agree with Lloyd. I think that LSU's in that similar stance. I think after this week, they're probably going to go into that mode with Southern and New Mexico, where
No, they're going to name somebody before.
no, they will.
Sunday.
They'll name them, but they'll both play.
Yeah.
I mean, just because they name somebody doesn't mean anything. You know, what I mean, they can say what they want as far as, yeah, Jane Daniels is going to take the first snap. Cool. You know what I mean? But Garrett Nussmeier might play more.
That's what I don't understand why everybody's so infatuated with LSU naming a starting quarterback when it feels like I could be totally egg on my face, like be totally wrong about them playing both. He was just in and then he hopped out. But like I feel like there he is. We got you. Crane and Co. Just Crane. Can you hear us?
No code.
Hey, y'all got me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, good, man. I'm like Elon Musk trying to figure this out, man.
We're live. We're live.
This morning.
Are we good? Because I can't hear him.
Oh, believe me, as a guy just got off the live show, I feel you on that.
No worries, no worries. We're trying, we're just in this video call endeavor, and I see you're in the whip, so I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Look, it's you got to get it in while you can. I got a puppy at the house. I have to run and let out right after the show, so it's a paper chase for sure.
Absolutely, dude.
Jake Crain from Crain & Company now joining us here on the show. Jake, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Looks great.
Man, I'm doing good, guys. Appreciate y'all having me. Excited about week 1.
Bro, great lighting. The eyes are sparkling blue. The hair a little gray. I had no idea that you were taking on that much gray. Is that the new marriage or what's going on? The new gig? What's going on here?
Well, like in the Crain family, we don't lose hair. It just becomes gray.
Hey.
Like, it's just kind of how it is.
Yes, Gray & Company. All right, Jake, LSU, Florida State, Sunday night. I'd imagine that Brian Kelly is going to name Jaden Daniels the starter at some point, probably today at his press conference. What do you anticipate in that game after seeing a week of Florida State and not knowing much about LSU other than what we've been watching in practice and what's been reported?
Yeah. Well, watching Duquesne, there's not a ton you're going to be able to take from it, just outside of organizationally how Florida State looked. Jordan Travis, to me, Jordy looks like the same guy. I mean, he's a guy that we know has good athleticism outside of the pocket. He's big in the quarterback run game. He can hurt you on the RPO, but I still didn't see a jump in the intermediate passing game. The ball is not coming out of his hand much better. I think LSU's got a better running back room. Now, Florida State is pretty good in the interior on the defensive line. Matchup's going to come down to LSU's offensive line versus Florida State's defensive line. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be the guy, so having that running ability is going to help take a little bit of pressure out of that offensive line. But I would not be shocked to see LSU really attack the perimeter of the line of scrimmage in the run game. That's where I think they're going to be able to make the most hay. With Butte working on the inside slot, you can move him on the outside. I like LSU minus the 2.5 right now, and obviously being in New Orleans helps that.
Absolutely. When you look at LSU from an offensive standpoint under Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock, what do you expect from them when you just know a little bit about their personnel? How do you expect them to look on that side of the ball?
I think pretty balanced. I think Coach Denbrock does a good job of being able to pitch backwards as well as being balanced. What do I mean by that? It's being able to keep people off balance on 1st and 10. I thought they did a really good job at Cincinnati on not being too predictable, not just lining up and saying, all right, we're going to try and get it to 2nd and 6, but having a good playing game, not being afraid to take shots on 1st and 10. So really the unpredictability of first down is what I'm very interested to see. Obviously, if Jaden Daniels is the guy, how much quarterback run game are you truly getting? Is it more of a decoy? And then when you get in the red zone, how much of the quarterback run game are you using? If you want to get you in the run and just say the big and Jaden has to improvise. Are you going to be able to improvise and be smart? You can't just go out there and be willy-nilly. I think that's where we've seen his turnovers come from. You look at a guy like Will Levis who has the same problem. I think Mike Denbrock and them are going to try and keep him in the pocket more than what people think. So really just a quarterback run game and the unpredictability on first down is something I'm really looking at.
What would your message be to Scott Frost if you were his boss this morning?
Cover the spread.
I almost feel bad. Scott's a good guy, but, again, it comes down to winning games. The onside kick call didn't lose them the game, but it sure as hell didn't help. My problem, Jordy, and I talked about this on the show today, Nebraska never adjusted on defense. Now, Northwestern, probably the best part of their offense is that offensive line. They've got 2 NFL players on it, including their left tackle, who I think has a chance to go really high. But it was amazing watching Helinski just pick them apart while they didn't adjust in zone. I was amazed that you didn't see the pressure get turned up, especially in the second half when they weren't hitting home. O'Shawn Mathis, the TCU transfer, was non-existent. But you add that with the onside kick call, with Casey Thompson just pulling a Drew Barrymore from 51st dates and forgetting in the second half. And Scott Frost, they just can't finish. You don't score any points in the second half. I think they have to beat Oklahoma now. If he doesn't beat Oklahoma, he's going to be gone at the end of this year.
From the standpoint of week 1, Ohio State, Notre Dame, is that the best game on paper?
You know, I'm not as sold on Notre Dame. The Buckner kid, I like what he can do in the run game. I've got to see him be able to throw the ball. I haven't seen him consistently be able to go through reads. Ohio State defensively, while I don't think they're going to be as elite as they've ever been, they're definitely going to be good enough. I look at that Georgia-Oregon game, man. It's just that there's a lot of interesting storylines in that game. I do think Georgia's going to win, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer than what everybody's thinking. So when it comes down to picking the best game of week 1, I think there's multiple to look at. I mean, I know it's on Thursday, but, you know, Penn State, Purdue, that's one I'm really looking at. Purdue, I've got winning the Big Ten West. I think if they beat Penn State, they may be able to run the table going into the Big Ten championship game, where I think they'd lose to Ohio State. But week 0 had some good games, but we're definitely going to get our fill this weekend.
TJ Finley named the starter on the Plains, Louisiana native, former LSU quarterback. What'd you make of that announcement from Brian Harsin?
You know, it's not shocking. I think I don't know how big of a difference there is in that quarterback room between TJ Finley and Calzada. I know Ashford made a push. I just don't think he's ready from a throwing standpoint. Auburn's not going to have an elite quarterback. They're going to have TJ Finley's the type guy where you go out there and you hope he doesn't lose you the game, but all the pieces around TJ Finley have to be on point for Auburn to be able to score enough points consistently to go win 8 games. I think Holden Gariner over time is going to be the guy, but he's a true freshman. I don't think Brian Harsin's going to pin his career, especially now that Alan Green, the AD's gone, the guy that hired him, on a true freshman. So I think TJ will be okay if his clock sped up. He's got an actual offseason in the system. He's been able to develop some chemistry and rapport with the guys outside. I just don't know how many pieces outside of Tank Bigsby that Auburn has around him that can really supplement what he can do.
You mentioned it there. Alan Green over the weekend resigned as athletic director. The 2 players in power that hired Brian Harsin are now gone. President and now AD Alan Green out. You were very well connected on Auburn's campus. What do you make of this news and what it means for the stability of Brian Harsin's future?
Well, you know, it's something that was expected. I'm surprised he made it past March when they didn't renew with him. That was kind of the writing on the wall. You know, it's always been an interesting fit. When he came in, he kind of pinched pennies a little bit, which is something he felt like he had to do for the budget. A lot of coaches were not thrilled about that. Coaches do not get thrilled when they don't get the money that they not only want excessively, but the money they expect. So this isn't like a coup like it was with Brian Harsin a little bit. But now that Alan Green's gone, you better win 8. If he doesn't win 8, he's gone. The next AD they bring in is going to want to bring in their own person anyway. So if there was any way to add more pressure on Brian Harsin, Alan Green leaving definitely does that.
Billy Napier opens up in the swamp his Florida tenure with a very solid Utah team. This is a hell of a spot for Napier. What do you make of Florida in week 1?
God, man, I like him as a dog bet right now. It's just, you know, sometimes you just got to go off instinct. I mean, I'm real Peter Parker-ish right now. The spidey senses are tingling. Like it's, you know, I'm starting to see things and stick to things walking around the house. So I really like Utah right now, money line. But, you know, when I look at this matchup, when you look at the humidity, when you look at Utah the way they started out last year, I know Cam Rising wasn't the guy at the beginning. I just feel like Florida's going to be a little bit sneaky. It's just the roster from a depth standpoint going through the battle of attrition that is the SEC. It's going to be tough to maintain. But right now, I like him to beat Utah.
Wow. That'll be a hell of a story there if he can get that week 1 win. Outside of the stuff that we've talked about, what are you looking forward to most other than actual football being played? What's the storyline for you here in week 1?
Well, you know, you want to kind of see the quarterbacks. Even though Clemson didn't play in a great Georgia Tech team, how does DJ look? Is the timing sped up over there? Because Clemson's very interesting. You look at Oklahoma with Dylan Gabriel coming back with Jeff Lebby. I want to see the style they play, how fast they will go with Brent Venables being the defensive coach there. I mentioned Georgia and Oregon, but a lot of it is organization. What teams are coming out looking good early? What quarterbacks are on point? Which teams aren't getting a lot of penalties? Not just, you know, holdings, but stupid penalties. So there's going to be a ton of storylines. Which upsets are going to hit? We know there's going to be upsets. I'm just glad we have it back and we have a full slate, because being able to walk my dog at halftime last Saturday without missing a game was kind of weird.
Dan Lanning is taking over at Oregon. I'd imagine if you would have asked Kirby Smart, what's the one team that you would probably not like to play as a defending champ? Because of Lanning being so familiar with the operation and everything that they've had coming back and what the offseason looks like. What do you make of this game where Georgia is a 17.5-point favorite with a ton of replacements on defense going against Oregon, who is obviously new head coach in Lanning, but coming over from Athens? What do you make of this game?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You better change the signals. It's funny. Everybody keeps talking about, oh, well, Dan knows Georgia's defense. Yeah, he knows the offense too. I'd be more worried about him knowing the offense and the signals and kind of, again, the play calling structure of Todd Monken. When you go against a guy in practice in team periods a lot, even if it's base stuff, you get a good feel, not just on the play call, but how he likes to operate. So I think it's unbelievably intriguing because Oregon is not, from a physicality standpoint, just going to get absolutely bulldozed. I don't think they're going to come out and play super vanilla like the way Michigan did from a play calling standpoint against Georgia, and Dan's not going to be afraid. Now, I do think Georgia has the most talented roster. Bo Nix hadn't exactly thrived when he's seen that G on the helmet of the team he's playing against. I think it's going to be a lot more low scoring than what people are thinking. I saw it at 17.5. I mean, that's a lot of points with kind of the connections that you have. And then again, going back to what I said a little bit about Oklahoma and Brent Venables, seeing the offensive pace and the style and kind of how they operate offensively, how is Oregon going to operate offensively? So, when I look at that game, that's one that's pretty intriguing to me.
Jake, you've been pretty high on Arkansas with Sam Pittman. This is a nice opener for them versus Cincinnati. What do you think of the Hogs here in week one?
Yeah, I took a -5.5 yesterday. Cincinnati's lost so much, not just on the offensive side, but you lost 2 NFL corners. Arkansas did lose Treylon Burks, but they got the Hazelwood kid over there. You got Knox at tight end. There's a couple young guys they're really excited about. I like Arkansas big in this game. Luke Fickell does a great job, but when you lose that type of production, and I know Cincinnati's on the rise, and it's not like they have bad players, but from a depth standpoint, Arkansas's really improved. You mentioned you bring back Catalan in the secondary, who missed some time last year, Bumper Pool there in the front seven, both coordinators, KJ Jefferson. I think Arkansas boat races them.
Last one, I'll get you out of here. Hayes King named the starter in College Station. What do you make of Jimbo in this offense going into this season?
Well, I'm never going to question a guy that got Christian Ponder and Kellen Mond drafted. I just think our sample size with Haynes King during a real game, not during practice, not during the spring game, but our sample size with Haynes King isn't enough for me to be like, you know what? I totally get it 100%. Again, I'm not going to question Jimbo. I do, however, think Max Johnson ends up being the guy before it's all said and done at A&M.
Jake Crain, at Jake Crain _ is where you follow the show. It's every morning coming at you. We appreciate you. Jake will be here every Monday, 8:30.
Definitely, man. I'm excited about it. Going to get you on next week to talk about how LSU rolled over FSU, and I hit my -2.5 bet. So I can't wait to talk about that.
Beautiful, buddy. Enjoy the day. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, y'all be good.
There he is, Jake Crain, checking in this morning from Crain and Company.
That interview that I heard not one word of as I sit here and shop online for something to wear to the game on Sunday was brought to you by Dad Soxy. Use the code Jordy to get 35% off of your order, and you still have time because they basically ship overnight. I mean, same day to get your purple and gold socks for the game day Sunday. Even your Joe Burrow socks.
DeadSoxy.com is where you find them online. What did you settle in on over there?
I haven't
What are you
yet.
going with?
I haven't yet. I've
You're
got
talking to me,
several
you're talking to her.
options.
I'm talking to her.
I'm talking about what I'm wearing on Sunday.
I thought we were talking about
I can't
gambling.
decide because I kind of thought we were in the field suite until Friday night, and then I was told that we wouldn't be. So now I'm kind of wondering what I'm going to wear.
At least you have tickets.
Maybe not
it must
as
be nice.
fancy.
Be fun. You'll have a good time.
There are tons of tickets for sale out there, Lloyd. I mean, tons.
Yeah, Lloyd, be easy to get in.
It's real easy to get in.
Speaking of the Sunday night game between LSU and Florida State, we will talk to head coach Mike Norvell from the Seminoles right here Wednesday, 2 o'clock is the time that we will talk to Coach Norvell. 3 o'clock his turn.
Yes.
See, I'm glad we got that.
That would have been a disaster.
Because you did say 3
Disaster.
o'clock before. Yeah, that would have been a complete disaster up at FM Digital Media.
Where is Coach? You said 3 o'clock, Coach.
3 o'clock. I've been waiting on the
It's
Zoom
I'm
for-
done. We're going home for the day. You didn't even
waiting
show.
on the video call
It's 4
for an
o'clock
hour.
in Tallahassee.
That would be a great gambit by us. Just to waste a little bit of his time.
God.
Sit around for an hour.
Oh my God.
You don't think we're an LSU podcast?
Wow, Coach, you're already here. We appreciate that, man.
Been here for an hour.
That makes me feel nervous to think about it.
No, we'll be here 2 o'clock on Saturday. 2 o'clock on Wednesday.
What?
2 o'clock
Oh my God.
2 o'clock on Wednesday. 2
I'm
o'clock on
sweating.
Wednesday.
Game's on Sunday.
Everybody chill
Sunday,
out.
Sunday.
Everybody chill out.
We're getting
chill
Mike
out,
Norvell right
chill
after
out.
the game on Sunday, 10 p.m.
We're getting what?
Mike Norvell is going to do the post game with FM Digital, 10 p.m. our time.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, no.
Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that comment button. Looking forward to today. We will hear Brian Kelly speak to the press.
I love football so much.
That will be here at noon today. So we will have a recap for you tonight on Mic'd Up, as Mic'd Up will be coming at you from, you want 5 to 7 on Mondays with the ancient
I don't
athletes?
know. I really wish I did know the answer to that, but it just depends on Mikey's ancient athlete schedule, you know? I'm at the mercy of a man that is trying to turn back the hands of time.
I have
Tom
been
Brady.
there. I missed that part of my life, so
I get it.
I
would like to
will.
play
I
too.
will side with Mikey on this.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
And for as much as success as Mic'd Up is experiencing, you still need to know if you can take that slant route,
Yeah.
60 yards against a bunch
How's
of
that
30 and 40
Achilles
year olds.
He can.
Yeah.
He said he could.
Well,
He's back at quarterback now. He was wide receiver.
what did I tell
game.
y'all last week?
Uh-huh.
What did I tell you
Really?
last week? I mean, this was going to be a series or two before that thing shook out, where they named the starter for, I believe it was Leo DeSalle, which DeSalle runs a very successful real estate company, Pinnacle Real Estate, here in town. But he was a fullback at LSU. You know what I mean? Like,
Mikey
he
had
was a
15
middle
scholarship offers
linebacker
to play
and a
quarterback.
fullback at Shaw that went on to play at LSU. A total headhunter on the kickoff team. A total guy that'll knock you out in the open field. But he ain't your quarterback. You know what I mean? And if Mikey's on the team who
What'd you
has
draft him for?
quarterback skill, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? And if I heard correctly through the ancient athlete grapevine, which I'm still on a couple of group texts with a few of them, big upset for DeSalle and crew to fall in week 1. I mean, a lot of intimidation to see Mikey walking up to the football field. I think there was a lot of people that didn't think he was going to show. There was some technical difficulties that Lloyd got him into here on Monday night, so they couldn't get the show off the ground. So Mikey grabbed his cleats, hauled over to O'Neal, got out on the field. I think it was kind of like a, hey, boys, we got a shot.
Yeah, stress relief
Here
for them.
comes
That's
Bothook.
That's what I told him. Like, go take
Let's
somebody's
go,
head off.
bro.
Don't be mad at
Absolutely.
me. Go, leave it all out on the ancient athletes field. They take an L, and now you see a little roster shakeup.
Yeah,
Mikey
then
at
you
quarterback,
open
week
up
2.
0-1
Oh.
with the pro baseball player. I mean, a lot of people talking on the practice fields of,
What a waste of that.
wow,
Third overall pick. What are you doing with
DeSalle
him?
might not have it figured out. They've
what
got
a
him in
day
the
for
slot.
Mikey.
Dissension amongst the staff.
Yeah, right. But it was
Hot
good to
seat?
see. It was good to see the move made for Mikey at quarterback. Could be that jolt of energy that Team DeSalle needs here going into week 2. Monday night matchup tonight. So hang
We'll
out
see.
and wait for the announcement from Lloyd and crew and Mic'd Up on whether or not they kick this thing off at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock.
What I do know is that Brendan LaFell will join us at 6:15.
Wow, 3 weeks in a row, JoJo.
JoJo,
Yeah,
it's just
right.
he can't get cut. He's just sticking around the roster.
Wow, man.
We've had him 3 weeks.
Says
in
a
row.
lot for him to come back.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
He's gonna hate me, I bet.
Why? What's going on?
Well, I'd feel like I wasted his time with the last one. Tried to join the video call, couldn't get the video call, couldn't get the show up. So I was like, sorry. God, this is a man from the Belichick tree. Won a Super Bowl with the Patriots. I'm sure if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah.
If you're early, you're on time.
Hunter Fournette, y'all bringing back the what's the bet for football season. Talking internally, might just do a 30-minute show weekly here on just gambling
I hope
on
you are, 'cause I already
Wednesdays.
ordered your visor for it.
Yes.
You got the green visor?
Got the green
The
visor.
mask?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's what a good call.
Absolutely.
Damn it.
Little
Did
cigar.
you get 2?
Nah, bro.
I think I did actually, because I got him a backup because I figured you would probably take it, crush it, do something to it, and then he would be pissed and I'd need a backup. So that's how things operate around here.
And then you get like the hand round calculator that you need to start doing the tickets.
That's what we need.
Cigar, yes. I did just put in a parlay.
That's right.
The Arkansas under.
I've got Lloyd money line minus 350 here. It's a bet.
33.
Give this man his ticket.
A ticket to the game?
Nah.
Impossible to get.
Hopefully you win so you can buy one.
That'd be it. I did. Hey, wait. Cash a little ticket this weekend. A little parlay, 3-team parlay, no big deal.
Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that comment button. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Mic'd up and crew coming at you at some point this evening. Make sure and stay tuned of all that's going on. Hold the rope tomorrow night. Skip back in.
Is he still alive?
Yes, Skip is alive. TK, welcome in to Hold the Rope with your producer, Lloyd Courtney.
On the ones and twos.
I am Tommy Christsan,
Best pitch in
long
Southeastern
time
history.
Baton Rouge sports radio legend. I'm joined here by Daniel Canaveri, one of Skip's longtime assistants, former head coach of the Lions.
You know it's a good show and everybody there needs a ride to the show.
Oh my God.
Hit that like button, share button, comment
Before
button.
it's too
We'll be back
late.
with you tomorrow morning.